Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday to you on this November 7th, 2025. I got all of your stories for your rush hour ride to work. Can you believe this? Fall season is here. We've got the Christmas holiday menu out at Starbucks. A bunch of white women are wearing scarves. The year is essentially over, but the drama continues. I've got a Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni story as some podcaster, Nick Viall, shares the fake information that has been really broadcasted over the last week, recklessly following a TMZ article. Hey, but what do they say? A lie can travel halfway around the world before the truth puts on its shoes. I don't have shoes on. Heck, I don't have pants on. Let's get this party started. Those stories, Justice for Clayton movement continues to get news written about them. I'm going to share what the local Fox channel is saying. Plus, I think we have some breaking news regarding some of that coverage. Then more on Epstein and the new mayor of New York starting January 1st, Elise Mamdani. If you want to see me in New York, I'll be performing there in December. Go to the rushhourwithdave.com. I think it's the Rush Hour. Now I have to double check. I think it's the rushhourwithdave.com. No, excuse me, rushhourwithdave.com. And you can sign up for the mailing list, which will get you first alert if I'm performing in your town. If you want to see me perform some more, sign up for the mailing list right to your local comedy clubs, and let's get that booked. All right, so here's the Baldoni story. Let's start with this. Of course, on Halloween, just a week ago, this lie, maybe they didn't mean to, but they got it wrong. They said the final judgment entered with the Blake Lively lawsuit, and they said that Justin Baldoni's done. And then everyone followed with it. Rolling Stones, everybody followed with their articles saying Baldoni's case is done. He didn't appeal. Essentially, they were implying that he didn't want to put up a fight. He was admitting guilt, which isn't true. Coming up next, we've got the $30 million podcast, the Viall Files. Nick Viall, feet on the coffee table there, discussing the Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, Justin Baldoni saga. Now, of course, Nick Viall, he's been one to be very dismissive of Justin Baldoni. He's, I guess, a little man jealous of the guy. Maybe his good hair, his abs, his star power on IMDb. I have no idea why, but they have been kind of pro Blake Lively side. I think it's his penchant for bootlicking to Ryan Reynolds. But either way, here's what he has to say with the misinformation. I will be there to correct it shortly thereafter.
Well, in a story that maybe only I care about these days, Justin Baldoni took an L in the court system recently.
Objection, Your Honor.
What happened there? L basically... Because did he technically lose, or was he just not
an expert here? Haven't really paying super close attention. So
okay, hold on. So not an expert, not really paying attention, but gonna give you my opinion to millions of listeners. Great.
I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not
Emily D. Baker.
I'm not Emily D. Baker. But I believe that the judge originally said you don't have enough here.
He procrastinated on his homework and didn't get his work out.
Not exactly true. So I'm going to give you a brief summary. The judge found that Justin Baldoni failed to prove actual malice, but really it was privileged statements. The judge stated that the allegations against Baldoni were made in a complaint filed with the California Civil Rights Department. The statements in that lawsuit are protected, which means he can't sue her for things she said in that complaint. Insufficient proof of extortion. The New York Times privilege. The judge determined that the New York Times was protected by fair report privilege because its reporting was a fair and true account of the public record. So anyhow, there's a lot more to what I'm going to share. Let's just listen to everything he has to say, and then I'll get to Justin Baldoni's lawyer, power attorney Brian Friedman, and what he has to say.
We're going to dismiss that. It got dismissed.
He had a deadline, right?
But then they had a deadline to resubmit the claim if they actually had evidence.
All right, so let me get this straight. Nick is alleging here, or I should say speculating really, that because Baldoni hasn't submitted their appeal to this, that it means they don't have the evidence and that's why they're not doing it. Whereas it's just simply not true. This is based on a fake news story. The truth is that the judge said, until we get through these other steps, there will be no appealing of this. So it's not that the time is up. It's that they are not at that deadline and they are planning to appeal.
Or actual things that made it less they didn't have enough, so they dismissed it.
This was the second deadline, like to resubmit, or there is still a second deadline?
No, now it's over.
Oh, it's done. Okay.
So, and they were like, no, we're totally going to do it. Like, oh my God, we got all this stuff. We just we haven't got around to it yet. And then the deadline has passed. And so...
Can we get a GoFundMe for Nick's buttons on his shirt? Can we try to save some modesty here? His cross, Jesus has ripped his shirt open like it's Hulk Hogan or whoever it was. You get the point. All right, but this is aging poorly. This is not aging well.
Which to me would again further show what I've always suspected, that this was just his team trying to win in the court of public opinion and very much like fight the fight online.
Oh my gosh, the irony. This is the exact opposite. Blake Lively's team ran with this story that is not true whatsoever, that, it must be over for Baldoni because X, Y, and Z. None of this is true. So this is Blake Lively's side playing the PR game. Again, I sound like such a Baldoni bootlicker here, but it's really just... They're so wrong. And this story was debunked a whole week ago. This podcast came out hours ago. And I get it. You shoot things in advance. I would never do that. I understand. By the way, I do like their new set. I'm glad. I was going to say I was glad they got rid of the candle, but that candle's right there. Can we get rid of this? Can we strike can we 86 this candle from the set? It's enormous. I mean, if you could bludgeon somebody with that thing. Anyhow.
And continued to harass Blake and her team, but like it seems like behind the scenes things are getting brighter and better for the team Blake, and when it comes to
do we know
the court.
Do we know if the case is like Lisa Barlow dismissed, or are we still having that like May 2026?
Nope.
As far as
March 2026. They're finding new ways to get they're introducing so much new stuff that's wrong here. Oh, this is fun. I love doing stuff like this.
This particular case where it's Justin sued Blake Lively for $400 million. That is
red
done, gone,
dismissed.
I mean, I guess he could like file a different claim, I guess.
He can
it
make
was
a poster board.
$400 million defamation, extortion and defamation lawsuit against Blake and Ryan. And it's officially been shut down after they failed to respond to an October 17th order asking why final judgment shouldn't be entered, prompting the court to formally close the case.
Listen, okay, I'm giving them grace. Assuming they got to the story late, but will they correct themselves? That's the question I'm not going to hold my breath on.
I would say that like when they filed it, it was just like in a retaliatory claim to like distract from the actual claim, which is Blake accusing Justin of inappropriate behavior at the workplace and the online harassment and the PR campaign that his team, which I think it seems to be a lot of evidence on, and this was more of a tactic to paint himself as the victim.
Everyone that he sued, right? That all of that has been he sued the New York Times.
They got.
I'm the victim having to listen to this. Can I GoFundMe's for my ear? I need earmuffs. Oh boy, this is rough.
They're countersuing. He's taking a lot of L's right now that you're not really hearing about, which is fascing.
It's almost as if
it's almost as if he has
power on the internet.
Yeah, the PR campaign really.
How does he think Baldoni's got more powerful than Mr. Mint Mobile and Blake Lively? What are they talking about? How have they able to make Blake Lively look like a damsel in distress? The several $100 million family here, they've won they haven't won everything in the court, but they've got it all except for the friendships with Blake with Taylor Swift. But the point is it's insane. Again, I don't follow too much of Nick Viall, but my guess is he's only going to report on things when he can take a victory lap. This is like what I say. It's like farting on the elevator and then getting off. No. Come on, you got to smell it. You're going to hotbox the elevator. You got to smell the stench. But my guess is we will not get a retraction.
Doing his work. Anyway.
Well, shit.
Told you so.
And then he goes. Oh no, he goes anyway. Told you so. Oof. That's a tough one to listen to. Anyway, told you so.
Anyway.
Well, shit.
Told you so.
Oh, what in the 14-year-old slumber party? Anyway, told you so. You didn't. You didn't tell anybody anything. All right, let's do this. I'm going to take a quick break, and then I'll share again what Justin Baldoni is saying through his attorneys, completely different from what Nick has alleged here. That coming next. Today's episode is sponsored by Veracity, an all-natural way to slim down, get energized, and sharpen your focus. Veracity is tackling the root cause of so many issues, metabolism. With Veracity's drug-free, clinically proven, and doctor-formulated solutions, you can support your body's needs to live your healthiest life. Try Metabolism Ignite, the #1 doctor-recommended GLP-1 booster and GLP-1 alternative. No side effects or allergens. Metabolism Ignite is a natural, safe, plant-based aid that results in an 85% reduction in hunger and is clinically proven to lose, on average, 9 pounds in 90 days. So what's in Veracity? It's a unique blend of lemon, verbena, and hibiscus extracts, green coffee bean extract, and magnesium. Veracity is safe to take along with GLP-1 medications to aid in boosting your metabolism and appetite control. Head to veracityselfcare.com and use code RUSHHOUR for up to 45% off your order. Once again, that's veracityselfcare.com for up to 40% off, and make sure you use my promo code RUSHHOUR so they know I sent you. Veracity doesn't just offer a quick fix for fatigue or weight gain. The products actually help you maintain a healthier lifestyle. It's the best kind of self-care. The comments are coming in hilarious. Wow, Nick has gone beyond selectively seeing only what fits his narrative to completely flipping the facts. Anyone looking at the actual evidence is seeing all Blake's allegations dismantled. The only tool she has left is media manipulation, which apparently Nick is a part of. Listen, this is kind of what I got accused of when I have Mint Mobile as a sponsor. People said, "Oh, Dave, now that you've got Mint Mobile as a sponsor, you're going to flip on the narrative." And no. Trust me. This is why I was. And again, I don't think Nick's getting it wrong because he has Mint Mobile as a sponsor. I think he's getting it wrong because he's got that confirmation bias. He wants to be in the Blake Lively team. But again, it's like I haven't budged on my beliefs, that Blake Lively is the one who was sort of extorting Baldoni, whether through a legal way or not, whether the courts can prove it or not. That's what I believe she's done here. Tried to commandeer power of the script of the film, of producer credits, mass unfollowings, catty bullshit. I haven't budged. No amount of money is going to get me to change my opinion. Baldoni warns that legal battle against Blake Lively isn't over despite countersuit closure. Despite his recent countersuit closure, his attorney Brian Freeman tells Page Six Baldoni and his Wayfair Studios team intentionally opted not to file an amended complaint. No deadlines were missed. Our clients chose not to amend their complaint to preserve appeal rights. At this time, it's unclear whether Baldoni and or Wayfair Studios actually plan to file an appeal. Now, like I said, the truth is it's going to be tough. What Blake Lively alleged about him, she did so in a protected way. I mean, it's like she clearly has good legal representation and has kind of known how to kind of skirt this and do things in a way where it's going to be hard to prove defamation. But it doesn't mean she didn't defame him. It doesn't mean any of that. What I would look at is the New York Times colluding with Blake Lively months before they ever asked his permission or tried to get his side of the story. But all of that information, see, the New York Times is protected. There's a lot of protection happening here, which is supposed to be for the right reason, but it doesn't mean that he doesn't have a case. But anyhow, so you get the point. But real wild stuff from the podcast. It's been a while since we've had to correct the podcast, but here we are. All right, let's jump to some other news. How about this? The password to the Louvre video surveillance system was Louvre at time of robbery, employee says. Oh boy, this is like when you go to my parents' house and the password is my mom's favorite son's name, which isn't me, by the way. Justice for Dave. I am not the password at my mom's house. But either way, I mean, look, if the password's going to be Louvre, you have to at least know how to spell Louvre. Not an easy task for the non-francophones out there. How funny is that? The video surveillance password was Louvre. Now, I don't think that made a difference. They didn't, they just bust into the window of the place. But either way, funny stuff there coming out of the Louvre Museum. And by the way, I haven't, now that they've kind of arrested some of these guys that stole the crown jewels or whatever, I still don't know what side I'm on. You know, I don't think you should steal crown jewels, but I still don't know how those jewels were sourced, right? Were they sourced with, slaves or through slave labor, blood diamond mining? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't know what side I'm on. I'm holding out, but more to the Louvre story as it comes. All right, we got a update with Clayton Echard, Justice for Clayton, posting this on Twitter. Fox 10 Phoenix. We shared this yesterday afternoon, the breaking news story, but I wanted to play this clip in its entirety because it's always great when we get press for the story we've been covering for 2 years now, which is that new charges to Laura Owens. She could face up to 90 years in prison. If you aren't familiar with the story, this should catch you up.
Well, new at noon, a Valley woman accused of faking a pregnancy in order to defraud a former star of The Bachelor is now facing some new charges.
Maricopa County Attorney Rachel Mitchell says Laura Michelle Owens has been indicted for allegedly making a false claim of pregnancy involving a second victim. Investigators say Owens faked documents to back up her claim after a brief relationship ended in 2021. She now faces multiple felonies, including perjury, fraud, forgery, and identity theft. These new charges come in addition to ones tied to former Bachelor star Clayton Echard. Owens is already accused of altering an ultrasound, lying under oath, and faking a pregnancy video. She filed a paternity suit against Echard back in 2023, later claimed she suffered a miscarriage, but a judge later ruled that the claim was false. She is facing 14 felony charges in total for 2 cases.
What are the odds? 14's my lucky number. Now, listen, I'm glad these news stations are covering this, but local news is essentially dead. They weren't there when Clayton needed them 2 years ago. He needed exposure to this fraud, right? He needed eyeballs, attention, publicity. He only got it from me and those in the Justice for Clayton community. We're seeing this over and over. We're seeing stories slip through the cracks. I don't blame local news. I just don't think it's in their budget, right? It used to be that every local town had its own newspaper with its own investigative journalist team. That's gone. If it's not a national news story, these things have a way of slipping through the cracks. Luckily, they didn't slip through our crack. And by the way, just to pull things back to Nick Viall, he waited months before he interviewed Clayton Echard. I got no hate for the guy, but he had a chance there. He knew the truth. He saw the binder of information. These are all facts I know. He knew Clayton was the victim. And he didn't interview him till several months after the time we raised money for him and got him an attorney and got him to fight it. It was like, it just goes to show some people that get into this game, it's like all about them. It's all out for them. I like to be a part of a community. I'm a team player. You know what I mean? And I'm so glad to be a part of the Justice for Clayton community because we'll know this story. We'll know why we're all there and why, we're seeing the news cover this. It's because of the attention and the eyeballs that were on this from the beginning, from the people, not because of the news doing their job.
The Echard case trial is set to begin January 2026.
All right, well, from one story to another, you guys know I'm a big fan of Billy McFarland, creator of Firefest. He sold the Firefest brand, but how about this? He's actually announced a headliner for his new Phoenix 2025. Will Billy McFarland rise from the ashes? He owes something like $26 million. I want him to be successful. It gives me hope for society. If at first you defraud your audience and the festival flops, try again. Here he is with the announcement.
We are coming to you live from Utila to announce the headliner for Phoenix 2025. This artist has over 10 billion streams on Spotify. He has over 15 hits. He has a #1 song throughout the entire Caribbean. He'll be landing his helicopter right on the dock for the Sunset headlining set. Phoenix 2025 will be unforgettable with French Montana. We will see you guys on the island.
So there it is. I mean, look, they got French Montana. Do I know a thing about French Montana? No. Is the password to his Wi-Fi the Louvre? I have no idea. But French Montana, I mean, listen, I've said this about Billy McFarland. All he needs to do with all of the, brand awareness that he has, with all of the attention on him, all he needs to do is have one good headliner, one good little rave, some positive PR. This guy, I want my son to have the work ethic that Billy McFarland has without the jail time. But either way, we will we hope to see him rise from the ashes there. Now, speaking of rising from the ashes, not quite here yet. The 2025 edition of Miss Universe, held in Thailand, has had so much drama. We shared this yesterday as several of the dozens of the contestants walked out after this guy, the guy who's in charge, I guess he was accused of calling Miss Universe Mexico dumb. Well, he says it was a miscommunication, which, quite frankly, I kind of believe. When you hear him speaking English, it's not obviously his first language. Maybe he didn't call her dumb. Maybe he called her something else. I don't know. Have a listen.
The pressure is a lot. I am the human. Sometimes I cannot control. First, I have to apologize for the delicate. If anyone affect and not comfortable, it happened. I'm so sorry.
All right, so he says, I'm sorry for what I did, blah, blah, blah. Look, I don't know. I mean, after she accused him of calling her dumb and women started standing up, he started telling them to sit down. So by all means, there are some cultural differences here. I, for one, got engaged in Thailand. It's one of the most beautiful countries in the world. I absolutely love Thailand, but I'm not going to vouch for this guy. I don't know. But boy, I'll tell you what, there's never been more eyeballs on this organization than right now. Now, Miss Universe Mexico, I think, is still in the competition.
For international press, I didn't say dumb head even 1 second. So could you please check it again in our Facebook, Miss Universe Thailand. I said damage.
All right, so he says, I didn't call her dumbhead. I said damage. Okay, I mean, I believe him. I don't know. I mean, what do you want from me? There's your update, the story we've been covering. All right, how about this? We got an Epstein Files update. This is wild stuff. So this is the Tennessee Holler. They're a fantastic progressive news page based here in Tennessee. Interviewing Afton Ben. She's running, she won the primary for Tennessee 7, the local election here, and she's going to be going in a special election in December against Van Epps. So she is claiming that the reason why they're keeping the government shut down and the reason why they're not bringing in Grivalda, who's already won her election, and they just haven't confirmed her. The reason they're doing that is to wait until this other guy wins, and this will cancel out her vote to release the Epstein files. It's a wild claim, but it adds up. Have a listen.
Alva is being kept out of Congress because of the Epstein files. Do you think if you win, Speaker Johnson will even seat you?
So I was in D.C. 2 weeks ago and actually met her. I said, well, did you know that there's some nefarious shenanigans happening? There's an article from the National Banner intimating that our state election commission is expediting the election results because they think Van Epps will win, and therefore his vote will cancel out her vote to release the Epstein files.
Are they waiting for him, basically?
That is what the National Banner reported.
Do you support the full release of the Epstein files? So I think the speaker has a great plan. I support the speaker's plan in this. I'm for full transparency.
Full transparency, he says he's for. Well, let's see if we can catch up with him. Here he is at the airport being asked a question. Is Speaker Johnson's plan for you to go cancel out Grivalda's vote to release the Epstein files?
Matt, funny running into you here, Matt.
He goes, funny running into you here, Matt.
How are you?
How are you?
I'm good.
How are you?
So Afton was on with us yesterday, and she said that Speaker Johnson is waiting for you to get there so you can cancel out Adelita Grijalva's vote on the Epstein files. What do you think about that? Does that sound right to you? Do you think that's Speaker Johnson's plan?
A cat has got his tongue. So there, by the way, this is what journalism is supposed to look like. The Tennessee Holler here doing the Lord's work. Now, look, I'm in Nashville. How can I team up with this guy? How can I work with these people? I would love to be waiting at the airport with the Rush Hour podcast asking these questions here. So this is wild. And again, Allie, who we've interviewed here, said, Justin, I am screaming. How did you get through security to catch him? You literally, I'm sure you had to buy a local flight to like Memphis in order to get through security. But this is wild stuff. Absolute insanity that we're watching this play out. Now, all eyes are on Tennessee 7. This is not a district that I live in, so I can't vote on this. But Matt Van Epps, I mean, all but likely is going to win. right? I mean, he's the Republican nominee in a deep red state. But what we witnessed this week is there is an absolute groundswell movement, a blue wave, if you will, that has flipped a lot of seats. What they're noticing that might happen in Texas is after the gerrymandering, they call it dumbmandering, which is when gerrymandering is when you water down the votes that you already have to go into other districts to win multiple districts. So if you have a strong point, you divide that to buy new votes for other districts. Well, it might be that in Texas, all of those Latino votes that they had hoped to receive will actually flip to blue because they're seeing all of the racially profiling and a lot of Hispanic culture being ripped apart and deported. So pretty wild stuff indeed. This election is in December. We have to do our part to expose this because it's absolutely ridiculous that our own representatives are like the one that the Grivalda. She won her election like a month ago, and they're not letting her do her job because they know if they swear her in, they're going to vote on releasing these Epstein files. Let me ask you guys a question. Do you want to support people that are staying silent over a pedophile cover-up? Because that's what we're watching right now.
Is that why they put $2 million into your race so that you would go there and help cover up the Epstein files? This is
Bezos family helped fuel $2 million in out-of-state spending in Tennessee. Wild stuff indeed. He was asked this question. What do you have to say to Afton saying you can be bought and sold? Have a listen.
He said the biggest difference between the two of you is she cannot be bought and sold. She doesn't take corporate PAC money, and that you benefited from millions spent against your opponents on your behalf in the primary. What do you say to that? She doesn't take corporate PAC money. You do. You can be bought and sold. She can't.
Yeah, I'm honored by the support that we've gotten throughout this race.
I'm honored by the support we've gotten from a billionaire. What?
And that's both from Tennessee, from the 40 local endorsements that we've had, all of the support from the donors, folks across the country who have supported us. I'm honored by that. And I think in an 11-person primary, it showed that that we are the candidate that has real-world boots-on-the-ground leadership experience, and what we're going to do to fight for our district, our state, and our country.
Fight for our district, just not for the victims of a pedophile.
Somebody were concerned, I'm just out here in the 7th Congressional District. Here's somebody who does take a lot of money from these corporate entities.
Good
what
follow-up.
would you say to those people that think, boy, he's getting all this big money, how can he represent me? Who are you more focused on? Would it be those big entities or would it be the people in the district?
I'm going to fight really hard for the Tennessee 7th Congressional District.
I'm going to fight for the Tennessee district sponsored by Jeff Bezos and Amazon. It's ridiculous. Well, I've pledged not to vote for people that take corporate PAC money, and I think you should too. I think we should get money out of politics, and the way we can each do it is to just say, we will not be voting for people that take money from corporations. They do not have our best interest. That's how I feel about that. Let me know what you guys think. We'll be back this afternoon. We'll see you then. I'm Dave. This is The Rush.